Right, well now, here we are. I'll just get Anne next to me. We're up to chapter 24 of the Curatage Ghost. Not too far from the end. Right, well, Grandad was trying to engage aged brain. He was still stuck worrying about quantum theory, cats in boxes, the nature of time and matter, string theory, black holes, and yes, wormholes. His best theory was that Luca had somehow, with the spirit of Catherine Beaufort's malevolent assistance, been spirited down some sort of wormhole, time and destination unknown, but, and it was a big but, like Grandad's, probably back to Catherine's own time, which, like Luca and Sir Max, he reckoned was about 1530. His thoughts reached nearly to the surface of his neurons, and speech ensued. Judy, she appeared with an, oh, what is it now sort of look. Do you remember when the listed buildings man got so excited? No? Yes, you do really. He told you that you had a medieval gully. Very rude, I thought. Yes, a poor phraseology, I'll grant you, but do you remember where it was? Why, oh, for heaven's sake, why are you wittering on about medieval gullies when our grandson is missing? Well, I think he may have fallen down it. Judy adopted the sad look she reserved for showing sympathy to the terminally insane. You've lost it. You realise that, don't you? I mean, why can't you just help us search for him like any other Grandad would? Well, I'm not any other Grandad, said Grandad, trying to re-establish a degree of credibility. I'm just as concerned as you are, but what has happened defies easy, rational explanation. So what we need is some difficult, rational explanation. I think Luca is lost in time, that it is connected with this venerable old house, and that if we can identify the oldest piece of the house, it might just help us to get him back. Grandma Judy was used to Grandad's balmy ideas. Most of the time she just tried to humour him. Some of the time they made her cross, and some of the time, by sheer luck, she reckoned, he hit on something at least worthy of consideration. She was not entirely sure that this idea qualified in that category, but it did give her pause. Well, not exactly for thought, more well, I won't shout at him yet sort of pause. Enlighten me, she said. Now, this was hard. Grandad himself was not particularly enlightened. This was the vaguest fog of an idea, mixed up with half-remembered facts, a bit of wishful thinking, and with just the tiniest soupçon of inspiration. It just sort of felt right in a eureka sort of way. He decided to try honesty. Always a risky strategy. I don't think I can really. I think there is but I think there's a breach in a sort of time-space continuum. Ooh, my ruff's fallen off. Which explains ghosts and things. And I think this is a sort of physical reality. So there is a beginning and an end, or an exit and an entrance, if you like. It was called an Einstein-Rosen bridge, but now most people call it a wormhole. The best minds in the world think they exist, but no one has proved it yet. Perhaps Luca just has. He won't have proved anything unless he comes back. Sounds like a bad episode of Doctor Who to me, said Judy with irrefutably hard logic. Anyway, I know where the gully is. It is between where Esme came through the ceiling and the last place we saw Luca come. So, come on, I'll show you. So she did. just by shining the torch from the secret cupboard entrance. They could both make just make out the underside of some old roof tiles sort of dropping down to a dividing wall, but there did seem to be some sort of gap. The trouble was, both grandparents were too old and too big to investigate further. They had to ask Esme, despite her poor track record of falling through ceilings, to explore for them, because Yaya absolutely refused to go near the spiders again. And Amelie was probably too big as well. Grandad gave her a camera and she crawled in. She was halfway between the cupboard and the light coming in from the still fresh hole in the ceiling when she found what the torch was pointing at. "Yes," she called back, "there is a sort of tunnel-like thing, but there's something jammed in it." There were a couple of camera flashes. "It's the old trunk! It's the old trunk!" Grandad could see Esme leaning into the opening and was suddenly afraid that she would disappear too. "Come back, Esme, come back. It's too dangerous." Esme had never been one for obeying orders. No, I have to get it out. It's blocking the tunnel. If I don't pull it out, Luca won't be able to come back." There was no stopping her. There was much grunting and pulling and scraping sounds. Both grandparents closed their eyes and just hoped. Then a shout of triumph, and the old trunk was back in the attic. Just as she pulled it out, Esme heard music. Well, not a tune, but the sound of trumpets. A really loud fanfare. Judy heard it too. And Grandad. She turned to him. "You know, I can't really believe it, but you just might be right for once." "Oh, I hope so. For everyone's sake, I hope so." Sir Max was now in the bedroom, and he too heard the fanfare, and stifled a cry. "Oh, Henry! Ah, it is that blackguard, Henry! He is about to burn me all over again! Oh, God in heaven, grant me mercy!" End of chapter 24 of the Curatage Ghost. Bye.